Okay, it's up and away once again, and it's a blasting start to Tuesday's trading activity. What a start and what a follow-on from yesterday as well. 11,300 nearly on the Nifty. The Bank Nifty is coming within sort of its all-time intraday highs. The mid-cap index is carrying on. The small-cap index now from the recent lows is up 16%. And that is in less than the last 1 month. So it's all hands on deck, and what a flight the market's been having now for the last so many trading sessions. What has changed is the question which many have been asking, and it's been a bunch of things. FII flows have been strong, and that's coming in hard. And of course, the mood on the ground here in India seems to have also turned a little bit as far as the politics is concerned, with elections less than a month away. But that's going to be the focus, as always, over the next 60 minutes. Top-down and bottom-up stories as well. With me, my colleague Ekta. Hi, Ekta.
Hi, Prashant. Yes, absolutely. Just look at the kind of momentum that we're seeing on specific stocks. I mean, I think stocks are competing to be top gainers on the Nifty today. Just before we started the show, there was the likes of Larsen and Toubro, which was really powering ahead. But now we have Bharti Airtel, which is in fact up around 4% for that stock. ICICI Bank is really adding a lot of momentum today. So up around 3% currently for ICICI Bank. I just want to point out another stock in focus. That's Aurobindo, where we just had source-based information. We've still not got confirmation from the company. But nonetheless, their Unit 4 has received an EIR, or an Establishment Inspection Report, from the US FDA. That's what sources are telling me. And that's important because remember that this is the only injectable unit that Aurobindo has, and they've guided for around 30% growth in their injectables business, and 30% of their total US filings, Prashant, is from this particular facility. So the street was very worried in terms of what could happen with Aurobindo and this particular unit. So as of now, it seems as though it's probably a clear signal for them to go ahead and get some approvals from there. But that's on Aurobindo, and a lot to talk about in terms of specific stocks. So let's not waste any time and get to Sudarshan Sukhani, who's with us this morning to tell us what he's tracking. Sudarshan, hi, morning, over to you. Stocks as well as index strategy, what would you recommend?
Well, the recommendation is to be long in this market. Now, this is not easy to do. The chances are that we have been long since yesterday, since Friday and Thursday, and that is comfortable. But for those who exited or have not gone long at all, my suggestion is, even at current levels, you take a position in the Nifty, a long position, and keep a very tight stop of 11,250. So be very disciplined about the stop, but you may not get stopped out at all because the momentum is very strong on the upside for the next 2-3 days. Stocks also lend themselves only to buying. There are a lot of buying opportunities coming up. So we are looking at stocks that are now consolidating, where the prospects of a breakout and some gains are still available. IndusInd Bank is one of them. The bank has underperformed, but it is going in a trading range, and it is possible that this range may break on the upside. VIP Industries is a second stock. Same story, big rally, then a trading range, and a possibility of a breakout. So really the idea is to look at stocks where some gains are still possible. And the third is Berger Paints, to buy. So the idea is to be in mid caps, to search for stories where the big run-up has not occurred yet, and then look to buy them.
So some stocks which are consolidating but which look like they could break out further. Focus on those, and Sudarshan put out a few for you. We've got a question also coming in from a viewer, Sudarshan. So this is on Bank of Baroda. Padma has 500 shares of Bank of Baroda. Cost is 110 rupees. She bought it 6 months ago. Wants to know what to do, hold or sell. BOB, Sudarshan, what would you say?
Well, PSU banks are going through a very good run, and Bank of Baroda is outperforming the PSU banks. So I think you hold on to that. You could see 135, 140 in the next 6 to 8 months. This is a good time to hold on to PSU banks. Don't make it into a permanent asset, but for the next 6 months to 1 year, there are gains coming in, which is what the investor is talking about. So look at a target of 135 to 140.
Okay, so that's on PSU banks that you're positive about. But we haven't really discussed ICICI Bank and the momentum that we've seen on that one, Sudarshan. What would you recommend, as well as, say, a Bharti Airtel?
Well, ICICI Bank is a recommendation to buy at current levels. This is a short-term trade. but it's worth buying into. I don't have an opinion on Bharti Airtel. There is so much news and it goes up and down. I'm not able to understand it.
Okay, fair enough. Completely get that point. HDFC Standard Life?
No, see, that stock has fallen today on news, but I think it's a buy on dip story. It's probably one of the best buying opportunities in the insurance sector.
Okay. All right, Sudarshan, we're going to let you go on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and speaking with us and giving us all of those strategies at this point in time. But we have a couple of stocks that we would be covering in just a bit, and Jet would be the first one. But I just want to point out that there have been a spate of order wins which have come through in the past couple of days. And now we have KEC International, which has bagged orders worth around 1323 odd crores. So maybe we can just try the company and get in touch with the company to find out more details on that particular order win. But the other stock in focus is Jet, which is higher as we await the outcome of the Etihad Airways board meeting. Banking sources have told CNBC-TV18 that Etihad Airways is preparing a fresh round of fund infusion. Ritu is here with us to tell us what the proposals are in terms of discussion. Ritu.
Well, the Etihad Airways board meeting outcome is still awaited, which will tell us exactly what the quantum of funds that Etihad is willing to invest in Jet Airways is. But in the meantime, there is a bank-led provisional resolution plan that is under discussion, and we've been able to gather from sources that under the discussion, that is currently being reviewed by all the stakeholders, Etihad has proposed to increase its stake to 24.5%. It wants to avoid that 25% mark because, SEBI has made it amply clear that there will be no exemptions from making open offers for anyone outside of lenders. And therefore, we're given to understand that Etihad is looking to infuse anywhere between 1,600 to 1,900 crore rupees to take its stake up to that level. And a similar amount we're given to understand, as we had reported earlier, another player is looking to take their stake up to 19.5, and that will be NIIF, and that we understand will be backed by Abu Dhabi Investment Fund, that is ADIA. In addition, as we had reported, Naresh Goyal's own stake will fall to below 20%. It could be in the range of 17 to 18% depending on the quantum of final infusion that is made. He's already infused about 250 crore rupees as interim funding. Another 450 crores is what the memorandum of understanding between the two players is that Naresh Goyal will infuse by pledging his Jet privilege shares. Also, another 1,000 crore rupees will be converted into investable instruments, 1,000 crores of debt by the lenders to bring their stake down to 30%, which will also then reduce this 1,000 crores from the total debt that Jet currently holds, which is at about 8,200 crore rupees. So this is the broad contours of the plans that is under discussion. We're still awaiting the outcome of the Etihad meeting to understand, what is the quantum of funds that they're willing to invest, because Naresh Goyal, in his letter that we reported yesterday, has sought, immediate funding of 750 crore rupees from Etihad, to keep the airline running.
Okay, Ritu, thanks very much for that. So that is Jet in focus, and as Ritu pointed out, the outcome of that Etihad board meet is still awaited, and when that is out, we'll get you details in terms of what's been decided, etc. So the market is, as I said, extremely strong. 1,300 stocks are higher compared to 300 stocks which are lower. I mean, if you look at the most actively traded part of the market. The other one is Bharti. Bharti is now what? Almost 350 rupees. 300, around 300 or just under 300 is where it got to. It's, I mean, if you look at the last 10, 12 years, that's the lower end of the range for Bharti, and it has typically got to about 450, 500 levels. It's happened a couple of times in the last decade, and now it's starting to move up. So 350, 353 on Bharti Airtel right now. It's transferred, the company's transferred 32% stake in Infratel towards wholly owned subsidiary Nettle Infra at around 290 rupees per share. What does this mean, and why should this excite the stock? Rima is here with the details. Rima.
Well, Bharti Airtel stock is excited in trade because this is one step closer to the company monetizing its stake in Bharti Infratel. So what has happened? Bharti has transferred 32% of its Bharti Infratel stake to its wholly owned subsidiary called Nettle Infra. The company said that the 60-day volume-weighted average of Bharti Infratel comes at around 290 rupees, which is roughly the price around which the Airtel stake will be transferred to Nettle Infra. Remember, this 290 rupees per share is at a steep discount of, to Bharti Infratel's current market price. But Infratel was one of the best performing stocks in 2019 with a rally of more than about 20%. Now, this is an intercompany transfer. The transfer will take place around the 18th of March on or after that, but there will be no change in the debt profile of the Airtel group post this transfer. But the stock is excited is because this is one step closer to the company monetizing its stake. The monetization of Infratel's stake by Bharti will happen once Nettle Infra sells its stake to an external investor, which can happen only after the Indus merger is completed. So once the Nettle Infra stake, stake sale happens to an external party, the Bharti debt will come down, and the Bharti stake in Bharti Infratel will come down from 50.3% to 18.3%. So that is, about the development which has taken place. The stock, as we said, is excited because this is the precursor to the company actually monetizing its stake in Infratel, but that can only happen post the Indus merger.
Okay, all right, Reema, thanks very much for that. So that's Bharti Airtel up around 4.5%, 5% almost for that particular stock. Even from the broader markets, a lot of stocks which are gaining. So Ajanta Pharma, for example, is up 6.5%. NBCC is seeing a lot of momentum on the upside. So up around 5.5% for that one. Is definitely a rally across the board, across indices that you can see on the screen at this point. Take a break. But up next, we're going to be touching base with Manisha Gupta, commodities editor. She'll tell us what she's tracking in the commodity space. We'll get you some strategies and some perspective from Peter Maguire, CEO of XM Australia.